What's up, guys? Welcome to At Home Fitness with Coach A. This is the YouTube channel that aims to bring you guys at home in gym quality coaching and workouts for at home or garage gym needs. Now, it is New Year's Eve. That brings us to day number 291 of our At Home Fitness programming series. And we're getting at the second piece of our weekly improvement cycle today. We're going to pop out in the garage here in a second and run through this for you guys, but let's go through it first. So we're doing two things on our single leg work today. The first one is going to be a single leg drop. You guys are going to set yourselves up ideally on a low box or a bench. That's what I'm going to use. And drop from 2 feet to a single foot, single leg landing, focusing on a nice flat footed landing. Obviously, the balls, the feet are going to hit the ground first. We want to be able to absorb all of the energy coming down into our hips. So I want you guys really trying to focus on a nice balanced landing. Let the knee bend, let the hip hinge a little bit as we hit the ground and absorb that energy in the hips. We're going to do 3 rounds of 5 each side there. Technically, if you want, you guys can alternate, or you can go 5 and 5, and that'll give you probably a little bit more rest transitioning back and forth from side to side than you otherwise will get. And then the second piece of that is going to be a single leg jump. I am personally going to jump to a bench, the same bench that I'm going to fall off of for the drop. But I will show you different options when I go through the demonstration stuff. So on the 2, we go on the drop from 2 feet to 1. All right. On the jump, we go from 1 foot to 1. If you need to modify the landing a little bit and make that a 1 foot takeoff to a 2 foot landing, that's fine. As long as we're getting a really good aggressive extension on that single leg and hip. And as you guys can see, a little bit more posterior chain takeoff stuff, so to speak, for the workout today. A 12-minute AMRAP. You guys are going to do 10 Russian kettlebell swings. If you want to spice that up, make them heavier, by all means, feel free. Probably not necessary. And honestly, I'd probably rather see you guys extend the time from 12 to 15, maybe even getting super crazy with it at 18 minutes, as opposed to increasing the weight. So Russian kettlebell swings for 10, probably about 53-35. And then we are alternating with box jumps for our couplet. 3 reps the first round, 6 reps the second round, 9 reps the third round. This is going to get extremely fatiguing, guys. Your hips probably will feel very inflated when you're done with this. So I want you guys to pace yourselves a little bit on the box jumps. No bounding, step down, set, jump, step down, set, jump. No matter how fresh you feel, no matter which round you're on, try and keep a steady, consistent standard on that so that we're able to keep the quality up on the takeoffs and we're not getting super sloppy with our rock of the hips. Stick around if you guys want to see those demonstrations and modifications. All right, guys, our single leg work this week is going to be twofold, as I mentioned earlier. The first one is going to be a drop. What I'm doing here is just kind of getting ready. I'm going to come up onto the toes a few times and drop down. This is going to be one of the things that's in that warm-up piece that I want you guys to try and make sure you do before the single leg jumping and landing work here, just to make sure the ankles, calves, feet are all ready to go. So the drop can be forward. Remember, we're going from 2 feet or technically the opposite foot down and below. I would prefer it being off to the side a little bit. It just makes it a little easier to focus on a straight flat landing coming down onto that foot, onto that hip. So essentially what I'm trying to do here is just pure fall, not jump, not push off, anything like that, and then be able to softly and smoothly land, catch, and absorb all my body weight that's hitting the ground on that, in this case, right hip. Okay. 5 and 5 each side. You can do what I'm doing here, which is do 5-1 and then do 5 with the other if you want, or you can alternate them back and forth. Just make sure we get enough rest to keep the quality on all this stuff as high as possible. Now, the single leg takeoff, the single leg jump, the single leg box jump. If at all possible, take off one leg, land on that leg as well. If that is extremely challenging for you and you guys don't have a way of shortening the distance or lowering it down at all to be able to do that, then we can always jump off of one leg and land on 2. Make sure the whole body's working with you guys. Arms, hands, everything's kind of pumping to drive you through and get into the good position there. One of the other things you guys can do here, if you want to modify some of this stuff, we don't necessarily need to fall off something. You can jump from 2 feet in place, land on that single leg if you want. And then one of the things we can do for the jump, if we're looking at a possible modification here, as I said, take off of 1 foot, land on 2, or obviously bring that weight down to maybe like a step height, or honestly just do your jump in place. WOD time! Alright, so we're looking at that 12-minute AMRAP. We are starting off and completing each round 10 Russian kettlebell swings. Keep in mind, guys, this is not supposed to be heavy. 53-35 is really what I'm looking for here. Something you can pretty much rep out continuously every single time. I also don't want you guys trying to string that up in the air too high. In line with the chest, at or under the shoulders, perfectly fine. We're just looking for a weighted hip extension. Now, as I mentioned, those box jumps or bench jumps, as I'm doing them here, are going to be the one at a time kind of variety. It's not really looking for super fast speed. I want quality, I want control, I want consistency, and I want you to be able to do that for the entirety of the 12 minutes or the 15 or 18 minutes if you guys are going to push it out even longer. Again, Russian kettlebell swings stay the same, or whatever the modification is going to be for that matter. Stay the same rep count all the way through. That does not need to increase. The increasing number repetition-wise of the box jumps will be enough to make this harder and harder. Stay tuned for movement modifications. Hey yo, modification time. Alright, so we talked about the jumps. If we are looking at the workout here, I would like to see you guys jump if at all possible for the box jumps. Even if it is literally to a super low plate. If we're in a position where we just can't jump for whatever reason, let's do step-ups. Let's try and make them challenging step-ups to some extent. So not super low. I mean, I don't want you guys working at a max effort just to get up on one step, but that kind of an idea. 3, 6, 9 each leg as opposed to total overall. Yes, I understand that's going to take a lot more time, so maybe feel free to kick that up to a 15 or 18 in AMRAP just to be able to get the same number of rounds you might otherwise get with box jumps. Now, those swings are not an option. I love the band pull-throughs or the band push-throughs, hip extensions, whatever you want to call them. Band attached behind us, feet pushing into the ground, glutes squeezing forward. Do not underestimate this movement if you guys have not done it before. If that is not an option, or if we have dumbbells, feel free to grab dumbbells or a barbell or some other object and hit some RDLs instead of your Russian kettlebell swings. Again, remember, it doesn't have to be super heavy here because you guys are going to be swinging a kettlebell that isn't super heavy. If you want to get a little bit of upper body work in there, feel free to go overhead on the swings or grab yourselves a plate and hit a few ground to overhead.